Hello.
Alrighty.
All right. Hello. Welcome to Peculiar Happenings. I'm Shelby,
And I'm Lee.
and I'm testing the audio because nothing is coming through the headphones today, which means I always get nervous that it's not actually picking up. Although I can see that on the recording, it has shifted.
Yes.
So actually, I think we're good.
Yes, I think we are also.
I think we're good.
I put my headphones on just because it makes me feel cool.
Just because it makes you feel cool.
Yeah.
I leave them off because it's always so muffled if I'm trying to talk and the headphones aren't on.
That's valid.
You know? That's
It
real.
was. I could hear it last time.
I know. I could. That was just the sound of the mic stand creaking as I'm adjusting.
I wonder.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. Whoa. No, that's not it. That's just the. I don't know. I think that's fine.
Who knows? Okay.
It's probably fine. I can see it's picking up on the recording at least. So this is going to be a nice
Yes.
YouTube episode in about 6 months from now.
Oh yeah.
But anyways,
no, we could. I'll get the things done this weekend, and
this is no. This is
We'll
re-
get 'em up.
well, no, because I'm saying because I know the person that usually edits and uploads the stuff is probably busy too at the end of the semester.
That's
stuff.
true.
Which
That is
so
true.
maybe what I can do next semester is I can learn how to do some stuff so I can upload it. I feel like we should restart. We've gotten so off topic. Let's try again. Okay.
They're used to it.
Okay, I feel like we have to at this point. Okay,
We
hold
can
on.
do it.
Hi, welcome to Peculiar Happenings. I'm Shelby.
And I'm Lee.
Now, we will not get off track this
Definitely
time.
not. Definitely not.
We will not. And I'm going to have to remember to email Chloe to be like, hey, listen to a minute in where we restart. Anyway, so we're going back to Peculiar Happenings for this episode, but what are we talking about, Lee? I feel like we've talked about so many Peculiar Happenings, Stranger Things is what I meant to say.
I was gonna ask you what we were talking about. You always
Oh.
ask me, so I was gonna be like, Shelby.
Okay, well, then ask.
Okay, so Shelby, what are we gonna talk about this week?
Let me slide your phone over so I can see. Oh my gosh. Well, we're talking about theories.
Yes.
Theories in general, but specifically we're looking for theories for season 5, I think, for the upcoming season, for
Yes.
the kind of the climax of the entire series. Everything's sort of been ramping up to this point. And so we're talking about some of our favorite theories that we've seen around. And then probably some of our own too, although I think most of my theories I have other people have already touched on.
I mean,
So
I feel like I haven't seen a whole lot
mhm.
of theories only because most of the time I feel like the thing about Stranger Things is because it takes so long in between people fall
Yeah.
off of it. So I think people talked about theories right after season 4 came out.
Yep. I saw a lot of the fan content for season 4 that I interact with is from like when it came out. It's not from like now. Which isn't a problem.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah,
just
no.
I definitely agree. It's sort of the hype has died off a little.
Yeah, and I think us talking about it, and I feel like some of our theories could be slightly unique.
And we're just
knows?
that dedicated. We're still talking about this
We're
show
that
like
dedicated.
a year, 2 years after the last season came out.
With all our knowledge
With
of
we
Stranger
are
Things 1 through
highly
4.
curated connoisseurs.
Oh yes, we are.
Of Stranger Things. But let's talk about the first theory, if I can figure out how to zoom in. Let's talk about the first theory, because this theory, after the second part of season 4 was released, this was all I saw anywhere.
Yeah.
People were obsessed with this theory.
Well, people were obsessed with Eddie Munson.
People were
to
obsessed with
begin
Eddie Munson. So this is a theory in relation to Eddie Munson, which is... So the basic premise is in D&D, Vecna has kind of a right-hand man called Cass the Bloody-Handed, who is someone, I believe, who was originally fighting against him, died, and then Vecna brought him back to life as sort of a vampire-like creature, or maybe a thrall creature.
Almost like a puppet.
Like a
to
puppet,
use.
and is now sort of controlling Cass and manipulating him to carry out his bidding. So because a lot of the show has to do with the D&D references, of course, a lot of people learned about Cass the Bloody-Handed and was like, hey, what if that's what they have planned for Eddie?
Yeah.
And I want to hear what you think about it before I say what I think about it, because I think we agree mostly. We agree mostly about this theory.
Oh, for sure. I think it would be really forkin' cool.
It would be
So
really cool. It'd be
so
fascinating
cool.
to see how the show would make like vampirism work within the context
Yeah.
of the Upside Down. I, for
Exactly.
one, personally, would go crazy for that.
Oh, I definitely. I think the
Lose my
design
mind.
of all the
Mhm.
all of the upside down creatures
Mhm.
are ridiculously cool, and I
Mhm.
think they're creepy, but they're cool. And I think that there could be legit character design for him. But I think if they are planning that, they are hiding it really well.
They are.
And I think that there is something to be said for the fact that it probably, I would say 98% will not be happening.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Again, I think it's a fascinating concept.
It is.
Perfect breeding ground for countless fanfics, and I cannot tell you how much like Vampire Eddie art that I have personally seen just browsing Pinterest, because it is so much. It is an insane amount.
The
But-
amount of
Yeah.
Vampire Eddie
Yeah.
and Human Steve I have seen
Yeah.
is, I think, to an unhealthy amount, because I have a Stranger
Mhm.
Things Pinterest board that I save
Yep.
all things to, and the majority of the things in there,
It's just Vampire Eddie and Human Steve's
yes,
being a little
or just
being a
Steve
little
and Eddie in
fruity.
general.
Yeah. No, it's just, again, I think such a cool concept, but it's not going to happen. The Duffer Brothers, they're pretty adamant, like, when a character dies on screen,
They do not come back.
they're not coming back.
Yeah.
And I feel like they wouldn't go back on that rule in the final season of the show. I feel like that would make a lot of people upset because it'd be a whole continuity thing, too. I think, if anything, we might see more of Eddie, because we were talking about this when we were planning this episode yesterday in your room while I'm like, well, your cat's like biting my hand, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, he's just a sweet boy.
Sweet boy.
One thing that we talked about was we might see more of Eddie, but in flashbacks. We might see more of, because this touches on another theory we'll get into more later, because it's not super relevant right now, but maybe we'll see some flashbacks about Eddie through the eyes of his uncle, through a lot of the other characters.
Yeah.
You know? Stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I think
Stuff like
especially Dustin and
And
his
Dustin,
uncle.
yeah.
I think those are the two people that will really
Mhm.
be, if anything, remembering Eddie.
Oh, yeah.
I said this to Shelby. I would have loved to see in season 4 a reaction to more
Yes.
characters about Steve. I mean,
you said
Eddie's
you
death.
specifically would have liked to see how sort of like Steve and Nancy and Robin
Yeah.
reacted to his death, because
Yeah,
we only
'cause they
really
were
get
there.
Dustin's reaction and then his uncle's reaction,
Yeah.
which I still think was really funny, because it's like everyone else thinks it was an earthquake, but Dustin's like, he died fighting what? The tectonic plates,
the earth.
the earth. He was punching the ground, you know.
Punching
But
the rocks.
yeah,
the dirt
I
and
think.
rocks.
Listen, you know me. I'm a sucker for vampires. I'm a sucker for vampire
yeah.
characters. I think Eddie, as a sort of vampire character, it would make my heart so happy. It would make my heart so happy, but my brain knows that it's never going to happen. It's like, it just wouldn't make sense, you
It
know?
wouldn't make sense, and I think they would have to do a lot to make it work. And I think
Yeah.
going off of this that we've talked about, I think it would make more sense to have something happen with Steve and not Eddie.
Yes. So from here, we can segue into sort of the next theory that
Yeah.
we had, which was, I didn't even think about this until you mentioned it the other day, and I got so excited.
I think it would be
I
so
got-
cool.
so excited.
Do you want to talk about it?
No, you can talk about it, because you were just about to talk about it. I'll talk about it when
I
you're
was
done
waiting for you to
talking
talk about it. You were excited.
Okay, well, I'm so excited because Lee brought up the idea that, maybe something is going to happen to Steve, because when he was in the Upside Down, he got bit really badly by one of the Demobats.
Mhm.
And like you said, it was kind of a funny ha-ha moment, but Robin kept mentioning rabies.
Yeah.
Or some sort of
Yeah.
effect or disease that would come from these
Yeah.
bites.
And he kept being like, I'm
So-
fine, I'm fine.
To me, that might be a little foreshadowing.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have just put that in there for no reason.
Yeah, no.
There's something that's going to happen.
People could say it's
Yes, I'm so
Robin's
excited. I'm so excited.
personality trait, but
Yes.
I don't fully see it that way
Yeah.
either, though. I really think that they don't just say things for a reason.
Yeah.
And I think if they were going to do anything, the idea of the
Mhm.
fact that the bats killed Eddie,
Yes.
so they should have killed Steve.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a Chekhov's gun.
It really does. And when Elle got in season 3, when
Mhm.
the mind flare got
Yeah,
a
when it
hold of
got her, like,
leg,
that was a whole thing.
yeah, it stopped her
Oh,
powers and it
You are
affected
so
her.
right.
So what if this affects him by
Ooh.
like either
Yes.
stopping something or stopping
Mhm.
him from doing something or giving him some ability or
Yes.
a control factor? Like someone could
So-
be controlling him.
Yes. This is so fascinating. I love it because I think you're
Oh
right.
my gosh. Oh
in
my gosh.
What?
What if, hear me out.
Hmm.
So you know how I've seen theories where people think Steve's going to die. They
I
think
hope
he
not. I love Steve.
I know,
Wow.
but there are theories that like either like Robin or Steve or a character like that might die because
If-
an
I
original
swear,
cast member is going
they kill
to. They
off
say it.
Robin, the only openly gay character in this show.
The thing is, she
Riots in the
requested that
streets.
Robin dies.
No, why would
Maya
you do
Hawke
that?
requested that
Don't
Robin
bury the
be
gay.
killed off.
Singular, because there's not even multiple.
No,
I mean, I
Well,
guess Will.
I guess, but
I guess, but he's fun. We like Robin, okay?
literally, they kill off.
She's our
both of them.
bestie.
Anyways, it would be really interesting to see if What if they kind of pull a little bit of a I'm trying to find my words.
Like, what are you trying to say? Because I do think I would.
Why is it Billy? What if they pull a little bit of a Billy where like he gets involved with the Upside Down and then gets completely controlled and doesn't become himself
I
anymore?
like that. I have to be. Now that I think about it, I definitely think something is going to happen because I think that while it is in character for Robin to be like making that joke, that definitely feels like the writers are also like, ha, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
He's not fine.
Yeah, and he was supposed to die in season 1.
Oh yeah.
So it would,
But his character changed completely from season 1,
Yes,
as
that
we
is
talked
true.
about in
That
the
is true.
Steve special, because Joe Keery is just built different.
he is built different.
But
I
that
don't
would
know.
be
I would
fascinating.
cry.
I really like the idea that something sort of starts to happen to him, or he has some sort of connection to the Upside Down, because, like we said, Will in season 1, he has the connection to the Upside Down. He was there for a substantially longer amount of time, had a Demogorgon grown inside of him for a little bit,
Yes.
but I don't know why I just got an accent. That happens sometimes. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it, sweetheart.
Don't worry about it, sweetheart. No, but I think that it is definitely within the realms of possibility that something strange is going to happen to Steve, which is the reason we connected this cast of Bloody Handed, is because we're like, what if Steve becomes that sort of like vampire figure that's being controlled by Vecna?
Yep.
Because he didn't die, but he did get really injured.
He did.
Something's going to happen
I
to him.
hope-
I can feel it in my
I
bones.
Would love in their character design if they show him have scarring or something.
Yes.
I think that would be such a fun little cameo of like maybe it's the year like I guess are they picking up right when it ended?
I think there's going to be a time skip.
I feel like there might be a time skip,
gonna
and
be
it would be
time skip.
interesting because at the beginning of every season we kind of like get a glimpse of what their lives are
Yeah.
like before it gets crazy
Before
again.
it gets crazy.
It would be interesting to see him maybe like getting dressed or something, and he like pulls his shirt down.
You're so
And
right.
it shows like a little bit of scars
listen,
to insinuate the danger.
I
has
can't
still
wait for
affected
the
them.
moment 2 or 3 years from now when we're watching season 5 and that exact thing's happening. I'm like, oh my god, lady, the gift of prophecy. But that would be so fascinating. But maybe it could be a thing, because then that would, if there is going to be a time skip, then that would raise the question, why hasn't whatever is going on with him happened sooner? But to me, that's kind of an obvious answer, which is it's just kind of lying dormant until Vecna deems that that he's going to need to use Steve for his purposes or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I
And
think it's like the thing with Billy again too. He didn't go full control mind like hive mind right away. It was sort of a gradual process.
Yeah.
So this
And-
might be a slower version of that.
and-
Sorry, I keep interrupting.
No,
you.
you're okay. In between each season too, there's a little bit of a break period
Yes.
where things don't just happen all of a sudden. It's
Yeah.
kind of a little bit of a skip to be like, this all happened. It
Yep.
it was temporarily resolved. We have this break, and they've kind of moved on a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
trying to get their lives back on track. And then, something isn't right. And then, we're right back into it.
Yeah.
Oh, we resolved it.
It's kind of
a
cycle, and
constant cycle.
it's going to be the end of the cycle soon,
Hopefully.
which is really weird to think about because again we talked about this before I think, but this show's been going on since we were both like in middle school.
yeah. It's going to be crazy.
I think I might have watched this in either 6th or 7th grade, and now it's probably going to end when I'm either graduated or graduating college. End
I
of an
think I'll
era.
cry.
End of an
once
era.
it
Honestly,
ends.
yeah.
It's just
Because it's always been there. It's been such a big
Yeah.
part of both of our lives, which is why we have this podcast.
exactly.
That's why I have this podcast. But I think it would be so fascinating if something happened with Steve. I think if they don't do that, missed opportunity.
Missed
100%.
opportunity. 100%.
Because I'm thinking about this from a writer's perspective and like a D&D DM perspective, which, listen, if I have this crazy weird monster in another dimension bite one of my players, as soon as the session's over, I'm going to text them and be like, hey, by the way, some weird stuff's going to start happening to your guy. And they're going to be like, what? And I'll be like, yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
There'll be consequences for this action.
It's not just gonna move on, like
Mhm.
there's gonna be some
I
aftermath here.
Absolutely think we're going to see something
Cause
like
and
that.
effect, babe.
And I'm so excited to see what role they take on it, because I think the Duffer Brothers and the show as a whole is very good at not doing repeats. So the way that people are affected by the Upside Down, like Will, like Billy, even though he wasn't actually in the Upside Down, he's still being affected by it. It's different each season. So I bet we're going to get something different, and I cannot wait to see what it is.
I know.
I can't wait to see what it is.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
That's one of my favorite theories out of all the
I'm
ones. Great.
so excited. So let's move on to our next theory, which is because I was looking up theories on my laptop, like on Reddit, just around. This apparently is a very popular theory. I don't know how much credence it has, but it's the theory that Henry / Vecna is Elle's biological dad.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this one, Lee?
I feel like I heard about this one pretty much right after, I think. I kind of knew about this one briefly, not a whole lot. I don't know how valid it will be, just considering Henry at the time when he was in Elle's life to begin with, when like all the kids were there. He wasn't that old.
No,
I would say
I
he
think
was late 20s,
yeah.
if anything. And when he first got to Brenner.
Yeah, to Brenner. He was a younger
Brenner.
child
Why
when he
am I-
first got to Brenner.
Yeah, he was a young child. Brenner's
see the
name left
flashbacks.
my brain for a second.
It's okay. It happens. There's a lot of characters in this show.
Yeah, I feel like it wouldn't necessarily make sense for it
I
unless
don't
like,
think it would.
and a lot of the other kids were teenagers at that
Yeah.
point. I think that maybe he was finding relation between them, and he
Yep.
could have been maybe slightly a father figure to some of the kids.
I think,
but that's the most you could, I think, go
yeah,
off of
I
it.
think
There could be a relation.
kind of like an older brother figure, if
Yeah.
anything. I think that's sort of the role that he took because he saw, obviously he's like, oh, these kids are like me. They're different, which means they're better than other people because he's a loser.
You know,
But
a theory we were going to talk about later, but I think could wrap into this,
Uh-huh.
is the idea that Vecna isn't the highest power in
yes,
the Upside Down. There could be, if we're talking relation, there could be a chance that I could see more of they are all the kids of someone else.
oh,
Or there's relation to someone else and they're all
yeah,
or there's a reason all these kids were chosen.
because it's
And that's why they're
Yeah,
connected, not
'cause-
that they're Henry's kid.
exactly
or
because
Vecna's
there was
kid.
the one theory that said that Vecna wouldn't be the main villain of season 5. That it would be this one specific. It was something called Boris. I think that I don't know. That's how
I wrote
how
it
pronounce it.
down.
It was Borys because that is the one thing in D&D at this point in time, whatever that's more powerful than Vecna. I think it's interesting from a theory standpoint, but I just yes. I think it makes for an interesting theory, but I don't think that's going to be the case because I think the Duffer Brothers are very good about everyone who works on the show, they're very good about having the show parallel things in D&D, and that's how we get the Demogorgons. That's how we get so much of the fun bits of the show. But I don't think it's
got me.
exactly. But I don't think it's to the point where you can use the D&D storyline to predict the show. I think they're probably smarter than that.
Yeah.
I think it parallels it, but you can't look at the plot of a D&D campaign,
And
a
expect
pre-made
it.
module, and be like, it's gonna follow this exactly. I know how it's gonna happen, guys.
Yeah, they might use those titles or
Yeah.
they might use those things, but it's not going to be exactly how
No,
it is.
it's-
Because it's just how the kids are coping with this and understanding it. Because they play D&D, they're very creative kids.
Yep.
They're kind of seeing the connections.
It's
Oh,
how
a
they're
hive mind?
interpreting all these crazy things
Yeah.
going around them. Because honestly, I'd be doing the same if some weird stuff started happening to me like this. I'd be like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, this is just like that one episode of Supernatural," or "This is
Yeah.
just like in Monster of the Week terms.
Yeah.
This thing would be a Punisher," and everyone would be so tired of me.
There is something to say, too, in I think season 2, they actually show the book and start showing pictures of the creatures, and the Mind Flayer looked nothing the way the Mind Flayer
Yes.
looked in the show.
Yes.
Like in the actual Upside Down. It was just a way they were using to label it
Yeah.
and understand it.
Yeah,
So-
because the Mind Flayer is in actual D&D. I think they've got the tentacle faces.
Yeah.
They're like, that's the exact sound they make. Trust me.
Uh-huh. We would know.
Don't double check with Gary Gygax.
Nope.
I actually don't know if he's still alive.
Who?
Gary Gygax, one of the guys who created the original D&D modules and rules and stuff.
That's fun.
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but
Learn
I don't know.
something
I
new
think
every day.
I also saw a lot of this theory when the show first came out, when the season first came out.
Mhm.
I don't think it makes sense. I don't think the timelines line up. I don't know how that would even work.
Yeah, because then
Because-
Elle's mom looked a lot older.
Yeah, Elle's mom was a lot older, which that doesn't make it impossible, but it'd be really weird. It wouldn't make much sense.
It wouldn't, because then it also insinuated that Elle's mom had powers and abilities.
Yes.
At one point.
Yes.
So then it wouldn't just have to be Henry, the end-all be-all of powers.
Yes, I would have to agree. I don't think it's an interesting theory, but I don't think you can tie everything back to Henry because, like you said, in season 2, we see that Elle's mom has similar powers to her, which we don't know maybe if she had access to them before, the incident that made her the way she is. We don't know if she even knew she had them, but she has them. So you get the feeling that this is sort of like a genetic thing. It can't be attributed to like environment, maybe. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it does.
Again,
Sorry, I zoned out for a hot
that's
second,
okay.
but then I got it.
That's so real. But yeah, there's people outside. They're leaving. It's okay. Imagine somebody just opens the door, throws it open, and we're just like, hey, we're talking here.
Hey,
we're talking here. No. But I don't see it working out. I don't see that theory being true in any way, shape, or form. It's not in the cards.
Nope.
It's not in the cards.
I just think there's too many flaws with it.
There's too many things that don't match up.
No.
Too many things that don't match up. So I actually can't read it from here. What's the next theory?
One is Will and Vecna.
Yes. This one does line up.
This one does definitely line up.
I think this is very plausible. So what's this one about?
This one is kind of Will and Vecna and how they are connected and how Vecna might use Will in the next season and how I think Will take on a bigger role within the Upside Down, potentially. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about it?
I think it would make a lot of sense. I think Vecna has been pulling the strings from the beginning, and I think Will's connection to the Upside Down, we already saw how he was sort of used as a puppet in season 2. Mm-hmm. We already saw that, and I think it would make a lot of sense if it came back. And have you seen the one video where it's set to the one song from WandaVision that's like, who's been messing up everything? It's been Agatha all along. There was one with that, and it showed Vecna in season 4, and then it flashed back to season 1 when Will fell off his bike. And I want to rewatch this now to make sure this is what it actually is. But it makes you think that, like, oh, it's the Demogorgon that's going after him. You look, and it looks more human than a Demogorgon. It looks maybe a little more like Vecna.
Interesting.
All the way back in season 1. Which, again, I don't know if that's verified. I haven't had the time to. I honestly forgot about it until just now.
That's a cool idea, though.
But it could be the case that Vecna's always had it in mind. Maybe he wants to use Will as like a protege. Maybe because he sought that sort of kinship. He sought that solidarity with Eleven.
He did, and it didn't work.
And now Will, he was normal in the first place, obviously, so maybe that wasn't his intentions from the beginning, but now that Will has a connection to the Upside Down, maybe his intentions with Will is that he wants him to carry on his work in case he, dies or he can't keep doing it.
I think maybe the fact that Will was able to survive the Upside Down for so long is what made him intrigued with Will.
Yep.
And that maybe Will feeling and sensing Vecna is not Will just still having a connection. Maybe it's Vecna purposely doing that.
Because
giving him a hint.
It could be like, in Harry Potter where Voldemort and Harry have that connection and like it kind of goes both ways.
Yeah.
It could be that. Will's looking through the Upside Down for information. Vecna's also like, let me look through this kid's eyes, see what they're up to. Pulling up a pair of binoculars, like metaphorical binoculars, like, all right, let's
metaphorical
go.
binoculars.
I just hit the microphone and I have no idea if it made a sound. So if there was a sound, my apologies. Don't flick the microphone, Lee. That would be a worse sound, I think.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But yeah, I think I saw some people also saying the theory that Vecna's sort of keeping him alive for his own purposes to be like a new vessel. Because obviously you look at Vecna's like Henry's whole deal, and you're like, whoa, that guy's messed up. He's kind of becoming one with the Upside Down.
He was giving murderer vibes because he was killing animals.
He was giving serial killer vibes. You know all those stories about like people that went on to be like serial killers and do horrible things. And every story in their childhood, it's like they really like to pin down beetles and like pull off their wings and hurt small animals.
But we just thought cat went missing a little while ago.
We just thought he was a special boy. He's misunderstood.
No, your son is crazy.
No.
Your child is insane.
You seen those people on social media that are like romanticizing like Ted Bundy?
Oh God,
John Wayne Gacy, and I'm just like, oh.
Respectfully, go get therapy. Respectfully,
no. Disrespectfully, you need to be committed. Disrespectfully, don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm calling 911.
Disrespectfully.
The FBI, hello, no. It's Lee. You need to check on this person.
I like how that implies that you're on a first name basis with the FBI.
I am. I talk to them.
It's
on my
the
phone
FBI.
All the time.
It's me, Lee. Oh my gosh, Lee, how's it been going? Oh, you know how it is. You saw what happened the other day. I dropped my drink. Oh yeah, we were watching the security cameras.
I fell on the stairs. I got my bruises now. devastating.
We would have sent a chopper team to help you up, but we're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, no.
Protocol or whatever.
I'm on a first name basis.
You're on a first name basis with the FBI. That's incredible.
I am.
I love that so much.
I am.
But I've completely forgot what we were talking about now because I got too into the FBI bit.
About how weird a kid Henry was.
Yes. Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Because then he
feel
killed
like
his family.
it's
That's the sign, guy.
I don't know. It's fascinating because it's one of those things where in season 4, especially looking back, you can see the signs. Because I know the one thing that stood out to me was the scene of him with like keeping a spider in the jar or something.
Yeah.
I was like, that's weird. There's something
Strange.
There's something not
Dead
right about
rabbits
this
in
one.
the yard.
There's something not right about this one. I
The
was
house.
saying.
Honestly, their house kind of creeped me out in the
I
flashbacks.
loved their
It
house.
was like cool,
It's
but I just knew it gave me
beautiful.
like haunted vibes.
Yeah, that's why I would love it, but that's also
That's
why I
valid.
would be too paranoid to be able to sleep in there, probably ever.
Yeah, valid.
'Cause I would love a haunted house so much, but I'm prone to paranoia, so I know deep in
too.
my soul I probably couldn't do it. But yeah, let's move on to the next theory. What's our next theory, Lee?
Do you want to talk about it?
Let me look at the phone and scoot it over. Oh yes. So this is a really fascinating one. We were browsing the Reddit forums
Yes, we were.
because we're big Redditors. No. I was browsing
Weird.
one Reddit forum in specific that had a lot of Stranger Things theories, and I saw a couple of times the theory that Max's consciousness is stuck in the Upside Down.
Yes.
Because the end of season 4 had Elle doing her best to help her sort of bring her back basically from the brink of death.
Yeah. She died for a solid, I think,
Yeah.
10 seconds
Mhm.
at least.
And Elle ended up bringing her back, but I think it's fascinating, and it would make a lot of sense if her consciousness is still stuck in the Upside Down. So whatever, maybe a will situation.
Mhm.
Or I saw someone say that it could be trapped in, like, Vecna's lair.
Like a mindscape type
Like
thing?
a mindscape type thing, yeah.
Okay.
So what do you think about this one? Because I think it's interesting and rather plausible.
I think it's really cool because I've seen ones like that theory,
Mhm.
and I've also seen theories of maybe she'll get abilities.
Yes.
I would love to see more on that, and I would love to see her when she comes back. Hopefully,
yes.
that she is blind. I think that would be a really
Yes,
cool
I've
character
seen
trait.
people do fan art of her when she is back, where she's in a
Yeah.
wheelchair and she's
Yeah.
blind.
I think that would be really cool. Representation for people
Yep.
who have those disabilities,
Yeah.
and those life struggles and hurdles. But I also
Especially
just
if
think
they
it's a cool theory in
handle it
general.
well.
Yes.
If they're like this is a tragic thing, but it's not the end of her life. Because
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times with that, people are like, oh, this is so horrible and awful. How could anyone be able to live like that? And the answer is, a lot of people can live like that.
Yeah,
Actually,
a lot of people do live like
a lot
that.
of people do live like that. You know,
She could get a little service animal,
she could get a service.
a service
animal.
dog.
Dart comes back.
Dart,
The Demogorgon service dog.
That's amazing.
That'd
Put
be
a little
so
collar on him, a little
Yeah.
service vest.
Someone's bothering her, and his face just opens up. And she's like, ah. She's like, bad dog, Dart, don't do that. Bad dog. Yeah.
I think it would be really cool. I think
it
there's
would
a
be
lot
cool.
to say about it. Just the fact that she already had this connection in season 4,
Mm-hmm.
and this connection to the fact that Vecna wanted her dead, and then she didn't die.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because she did die for a couple of seconds, we obviously
Mhm.
saw the earthquake and everything happen.
Yeah.
Well, not actually earthquake. It was the upside down opening up, basically.
But
I-
not all
I-
the way, just
not
like
all the way,
Max
just-
dying. Not
just
all
part
the
of
way. Just a little bit. Just dipping the toes in the waters of death.
But I think it would be interesting because I feel like maybe Vecna could target her again as well.
Yes.
Because she was supposed to die and she didn't. And now he wants her
Yep.
revenge.
And I also saw the theory that if we're going with this sort of her consciousness is separated from her body theory, that Vecna might use her as a vessel.
Yeah.
Or sort of be manipulating her and be like, guys, it's me. I'm Max.
I'm Max,
back
I'm alive.
from the afterlife and I have amnesia. I don't remember anything. But it's totally me, guys.
It's totally.
It's not me, Henry Creel. Why would you even think that? Oh my gosh. Why would you even think that?
Oh my gosh, there's a dead bunny. Definitely wasn't me.
Max just starts killing small animals. It's like, Max, what are you doing? And it's just like,
Nothing.
it's just like nothing. I thought this was a sandwich. You were pulling apart a sandwich? That's how I eat them. I'm sorry. Imagine that does happen. Can you imagine the amount of comedic situations that could arise? Sorry, I
You're
just
okay.
kicked your leg because I'm trying to adjust my shoelaces because they're too tight. But could you imagine the amount of comedic situations that could arise from this, like, crazy serial killer guy trying to pretend to be a normal, albeit deeply
Teenage girl.
traumatized teenage girl?
That'd be crazy.
And it's just like, hey, Max, what are you doing? It's like, I'm a teenage girl. I'm painting my nails.
I like boys and I like
I
shopping at the
like
mall.
The mall and boys, yeah. And everyone's just like,
uh,
okay. The doctor said she didn't have brain damage.
they said
But
she
how
was
can we be
fine.
sure? Yeah, I think there's okay. You know what? Maybe I'll write a fic about that. Just like a a crack fic where it's just Vecna possessing Max, pretending to be a teenage girl, and just failing righteously so.
That would be great.
Righteously so. That'd be hilarious.
That would be really funny,
That'd be so funny.
to be honest.
That would be really funny. All right. Are we wrapping that one up? We good with that theory? I think we've covered
I
all
think
we
so.
can cover, and even a little bit of our own. Because it would be hilarious.
It was a little left up to just, this we're ending.
Yep.
That's how it happened. We don't get to see anything more,
Nope,
really.
we don't know
so-
for certain
have
if
no idea.
she's sort of stuck in a coma, if her consciousness is separated, if we're ever going to be able to get the Max we know back.
Yeah. Or how it might have affected Elle. You know, we have no idea if
Yeah.
her powers were affected by it or if maybe she gave them to Max or gave part of them to Max.
Yes, I've seen that theory.
That'd be
That
interesting.
Elle sort of gave some of her abilities or powers to Max in order to keep her alive, which would be fascinating.
Like almost like
I
how Rapunzel with
love
her
that.
hair.
Yes,
The flower gave her those
listen,
abilities.
I love that. I eat that up every time.
Yeah.
It's such a cool theory.
It would be good. I think it would be fun.
That is so fun. Okay, so let me see. Oh, the next theory. The next theory I really enjoy, which is about Karen Wheeler. It's about Karen Wheeler, which is, do you see? It's the one right under here.
Oh.
Yeah. Just the theory that because she's sort of been in the background a lot, we definitely saw more of her in season 3. Because season 3, that was when we had the scene with her talking to Nancy.
I love that
Which
scene.
I love that scene so
It was
much.
done really well.
Where her mom's like, oh, I don't know where you get it from. You know how your father is. He's such a pushover or something. She's like, I got it from you, Mom. It was like, oh, God.
Amazing. And they both start crying.
And they both
And then
start
I start
crying.
crying.
And then I start crying. It's such a good scene. I love that
It
scene.
was done so well.
But that's also when, not her finest moment, she almost has her little moment of cheating on her husband with a high schooler.
Yeah, that happened.
Which, okay, the first part,
It
not
was
great.
The 80s.
But we
Just
know what
kidding.
your
Just
husband
kidding.
is like. We know what her husband is like.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
You know,
high
she's
schooler.
a stay-at-home mom who's never worked a day in her life. I don't think really.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like she definitely wanted some excitement, and
She
Billy
wants
was
something
gonna give
new
that to
in her life.
But then she realized that she didn't necessarily want to give up her family.
Yes, she has she had a responsibility to her family.
I would love to see her get a little bit more into
yes.
a Joyce Byers type character.
Yes. Can you imagine her and Joyce teaming up?
Can you
And
imagine
Joyce,
her
like-
and Joyce? I'm just saying.
You're just saying. Oh my god.
Power move.
No, but what about
Power move.
Hopper? What about Hopper?
He's a man. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
This
no, I
just
love
in,
Hopper and Joyce.
Lee is a raging misandrist. Hates all men. All of them. Don't. Lee just did the thing where it's like you tap the side, you just mogging or whatever. You tap the side of your face and you like make a face like yeah or something like that. God. No, but I think it'd be really fun if there's a scene of them where like Joyce is going full conspiracy mode, Karen's trying to keep up, and then Karen does something that like Joyce didn't think of, and Joyce is like, I didn't think of that. We're gonna get along great or something, and they're like going
Yeah.
full conspiracy mom mode. I think that'd be
I
really
would
fun
love that. They're gonna protect their kids at
Yep.
all costs.
at all costs. And I also think I have to agree that she's gonna get involved in it a little more. Because again, we saw it in season 4, and now maybe all the parents are gonna get involved a little more. Because season 4 is the first season where they finally go, maybe we should figure out what our kids are doing when they're gone for 9 hours a day, and we
Or
don't hear
more,
from them.
like multiple days.
Because it's like there's always the excuse that it's like, tell mom I'm sleeping over at this guy's house or something.
But then they never call.
But then they never call to check in.
No.
Which, okay,
they
that
do
is what
not.
my parents have said was the unrealistic part of the show. Because my dad was basically one of the Stranger Things kids riding around on his little bicycle around his rural hometown in Vermont, his various
He was
hometowns,
chillaxing.
chilling, riding through the woods. But he said that he would always, call his mom when he got there. And if he was staying over, if he was staying for dinner, he'd call up and be like, hey, Mom, I'm staying for dinner tonight. And she'd be like, okay, sweetie.
Like, all
Or-
right.
Okay, see you later.
All right, pumpkin.
Yeah.
You know.
But I feel like the parents are going to get more involved, and that could make for some very interesting conflict if the kids are trying to go out and do stuff as they usually are, but then their parents are like, where are you going? And it's like, Will's house. And it's like, Will said he was coming. Well, that's funny. Mrs. Byers just said Will was coming to our house. And it's like, we're meeting halfway. I think there's a lot of...
To California.
To California. Yes, because they moved.
That'd
I
be funny.
forgot. That's on me. I wasn't thinking.
No, but that
it'd
could be in
fun.
the early seasons. It's okay.
Yeah, I was talking about the
And
early
it kind of
season,
insinuates they might be coming back? Question mark.
but I feel like at this point, yeah.
Just to fight
Mm-hmm.
the upside down.
Because obviously they don't want to. I wouldn't want to in this situation, but I know that Elle is going to be like, listen, there's no one else that can do this. I have to be here to keep basically everything from falling apart, which is, that's a lot of pressure for a teenage girl. She's just a girl.
She's
just a girl in the world. But I absolutely think that Karen at least is going to get involved more, because we have seen more of her character starting in season 3. And I also think that maybe all the parents will be in on it at one point, which would be crazy. Oh, no, I just remembered. Do you know what the one crazy theory I saw was? That doesn't make any sense. Forget the other theory, which was like Cass the Bloody-Handed, that we were like, that wouldn't make any sense for Eddie. This is the one that is like, where did you even get that from? Someone thinks that Karen and Ted Wheeler are like Russian sleeper agents.
What?
I told you about that because someone said, I think that they might be Russian sleeper agents, and someone just responded with, sure, period, just full stop. Like, sure thing, buddy.
You're
That's
done.
no.
That's wild.
That would be crazy. If that was the case, there would have been hints to it.
Yeah.
There would have been hints to it. They would have been acting weird in some of the earlier seasons. They would have been doing things that's odd that were like, oh, that's strange. Why are they doing that? That doesn't make sense. We haven't had any of that. They're not Russian sleeper agents. To whoever that was on Reddit,
I'm sorry, you're wrong.
you're wrong.
You're done.
Touch grass. Go outside. Take a walk, maybe. I don't know, man. But
let's not spiral here.
yeah, let's get back to the basics. Let's go this one. This one makes me sad. I don't like to think about it. Which is that someone of the original like party is gonna die.
Yeah.
And then Dustin theory. Because you told me about that theory. What
Dustin
tell me about that theory again.
Okay, so I don't remember when this was, but I saw a video on TikTok, and it was someone explaining theories about Stranger Things, because at this point it was before season 4, I think. I think this was when season 3 was out afterwards.
Yeah.
People had theories that Dustin was going to be one of the people to die, because in season 2, when they go to the dance, all of them are dressed up very much adult-like, and
They got their fancy little formal wear
they
going.
do. But the reason people think this is because the costume designer who made the outfits specifically said that she designed each of the outfits based off of the future career she thinks they would have.
Fascinating. Do you know,
Yes.
was that said in an article or an interview?
I think it was a video that I saw.
Ooh, I want to find this video now. I want to watch that just from
I'll
the
see.
point of someone who wants to work with like outfits and costumes and likes costume design.
I can't tell you who they said each of them would be. I can't remember Mike, but I remember they said Will dressed very much like their teacher. So they think he would become a school teacher and, be like AV club kind of like the one teacher they had.
I think that would make a lot of sense. He
yeah.
becomes the new Mr. Clark.
He would become the new Mr. Clark.
Mr. Clark. Oh my gosh.
And that was insinuated. And then, no, wait, I think season 4 was out at this point because maybe it was after part 1 or 2. I don't remember.
It could have been after one of the parts.
I don't remember anymore. But they think Lucas was dressed very much like how a lot of authors and English people write. And they were thinking that because he was reading horror novels to Max while she was in the hospital, and like they thought that maybe it could be a really important thing for him. And when he first told Max about the Upside Down, she was like, oh, that's a really good book idea. And that maybe someday he would write down their tales as a novel, but like no one would really know. And so it would be like kind of like a Goosebumps vibes.
Oh, that would be fascinating.
So people thought that maybe he'd be an author. And then I can't remember what Mike was, but Mike was something related to like a parental figure or something.
I feel like the outfit he had was like math teacher.
Yeah, it was something.
Or wait,
like,
or was he the English teacher? Because I feel like Will would be an author. Or maybe Will would be an artist. Maybe Will would be an illustrator. Maybe Will would do like comics or something in the future.
maybe it was Mike who was dressed more like.
I vaguely remember I think what you're talking about because he's got the the like grandma print sweater vest. No, the grandpa print sweater vest for back of a letter descriptor.
But anyways, the reason I'm saying all this is all their costumes were correlated to specific things.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was Dustin, who was wearing this really big flashy tux, and his hair looked just like Steve Harrington.
Oh,
So he looked like he was dressed like a high schooler, and like he was trying to be like Steve Harrington, and Steve isn't an adult. He was only a high schooler at the time, or just graduated.
So they think Dustin's gonna
die because
or
that's as far as he would.
What
get.
if he just gets famous?
What if he is like a show host?
What if he becomes a celebrity? What if he becomes like a really successful 80s musical pop artist?
Exactly. I'm gonna see if I can find an article on
How do
this.
we know? I think it's an interesting theory. I want to see the original video. I think I absolutely want to see the original video because it's an interesting theory. It's sort of a big leap to take, I think. But if this was like the costume designer on the show saying this, then that would definitely have some credence, which means I like it even less because then maybe Dustin will die. And I don't want Dustin to die. I don't want any of them to die. Although I would be less sad about Mike. I would be less sad about Mike dying, to be quite honest with you. But I don't know. It's just, are you finding anything?
No.
We can look for it after the show. We can look for it after the show. And we'll update you all next time. We'll post something on the Instagram.
We could like repost a video or something.
That we could, but I'm yawning. Hold on.
That was the theory. I think too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cast members who have been requested to have their characters killed off, and there are people who requested that
hate us?
and whose characters were killed off. As in,
oh gosh,
Billy. The reason Billy was such a big part in season 3, they ended up writing that all in because Dacre Montgomery requested that Billy die. And that's why they ended up having Billy's character become such a big character in season 3 because the whole point was they knew he was going to die at the end of the season.
Which, it makes for good planning. It makes for good planning.
Does.
I like it. Although, again, it would be really interesting to see where Billy might have gone. Because, excuse me, Billy might have had sort of like a Steve adjacent role. Mm-hmm. And I think part of Billy's character was that he was kind of a jerk. But it would have been so fascinating to see him take his sort of like flashy attitude, his sort of like recklessness, and use it like against the Upside Down. Like he'd be the kind of guy that he'd drive his car into a Demogorgon laughing all the way.
Yeah.
Be like, whoa,
smoking a cigarette.
Smoking a cigarette out the window, listening to Scorpions, taking a sip of beer, driving with one hand, and just like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That would definitely be his energy.
That would be.
For sure. But we also, like I said, Maya Hawke has requested her character be killed off, so Robin might die.
Which makes me really sad.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, come on. Duffer Brothers, I know you personally are listening. I know you guys are listening because you listen to every episode of our podcast because we're so big and famous and good.
I can talk to my FBI.
You can talk to your FBI contacts,
they'll connect us.
and they'll connect us. This is good. So when the FBI comes knocking at your door to make you listen to this episode, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't bury the gay. The one singular gay. Don't do it.
Please do not.
Do not.
I understand that Will definitely is a closeted queer individual, but the thing is, he's not out and he's not openly. They don't talk about it. They never said a word about it.
To be fair, Robin's only out to Steve, but she still talks about it with him. She's complaining. She's like, "Oh, I'm useless.
I don't want her to die."
I know. I love her so much.
And then there's theories that Elle will die, too, to bring it full circle. I think
that would make it. I think that would make a lot of sense actually to bring it kind of full circle.
Yeah, I mean, she's so love her, no hate to her.
Mm-hmm.
She's so beyond traumatized. I mean, they all are.
Yeah.
But she was literally raised in a lab, and she is one of the only ones that was raised in a lab that has lived, other than Callie.
Mm-hmm.
And Callie obviously isn't doing the best because when we saw her, she was going around and killing the people who affected her,
doing
and
some
living
vigilante
in a warehouse,
stuff.
living in a warehouse, stealing, being chased by cops. I mean, it's not the best life, and I think that I don't know how much Elle would thrive afterwards, unless they're able to really
Yeah.
settle down and really do some therapy together.
It's interesting. I have to agree. I cannot think. So for a lot of the other characters, and I can kind of have an idea in my mind of what they want to be. Like we know that Nancy is going to be girl bossing it away
oh yeah,
at like a newspaper somewhere in some city, you know?
yeah, for sure.
But when I think of the future for Elle, I'm just I don't know what she
Draw-
could do.
I draw
I
a
don't know
blank.
because it's how can she get a job? How imagine trying to apply for college and get scholarships when you don't have like any information. I assume they'd forge stuff because they did forge a birth certificate for her for
They
season
did.
2 or 3, I think.
Yeah.
But still, it would be tough, and I think it, like you said, it makes sense. It would bring things full circle.
It would. I think it would. There's a lot of complications with it, obviously, because we don't know any, I guess, validity in any of these. But there's a lot of speculations on the internet. There's a lot of theories out there, and these are our theories and stuff. But I think that it would make sense to have at least one of the OG characters die,
Yeah.
even though we don't want to
Because
see it happen.
We don't want to see it happen, but that's just realistic writing. When you've got the stakes so high for so long, there has to be some sort of consequences. Even if you love a character, and I struggle with this as an author too, even if you love a character dearly. Actually, I don't struggle with it. I love killing off my characters, but I was gonna say, even if you have a beloved character, you can't give them all plot armor. You can't have them all get out of every situation unscathed, which I think they've done a good job of having them make it out of situations sort of beaten and bruised and having consequences and not letting them get off scot-free, like how Elle sort of lost her powers in the beginning of season 4 after season 3.
I think that it also depends on how long your series is going.
Yes.
And how much danger they're going into and how many characters are killed off.
Yes, absolutely.
And they've had so many side characters come in and out of the show. They've had so many on-screen deaths. They've had so much. The stakes have been so high for so long.
I feel like
it would not make sense,
Yeah.
especially going to this with the idea of that this is like the final battle is what this season feels like. It would make no sense for them to not kill any character off, whether we like it or
like
not.
a big character. Exactly. I feel like it's time for these high stakes to finally get to one of the main group, and that'll really, I think it would make sense. It'll really cement the fact that it's like, this is the end of the show.
Yeah.
This is it.
Hear me out. I think this is why they would probably kill a character off like Dustin or Robin or someone.
Yeah.
Only because obviously we're both writers. We both write a lot, for D&D campaigns, our own stories, all this stuff. And I was looking at something. I was reading an article because I was I wanted to learn. So I've read a lot of books that have killed off characters for no reason, and I didn't like it.
It's never good.
who haven't done it well.
Yes.
And I read an article about how to kill off a character well and why you should and when you should do it.
Yeah.
And a specific thing that really the person was suggesting, one of the best and pretty much only ways that you should do it if you want to really make it successful is to kill them off when the stakes are high.
Yep.
When that person is kind of the light for the main character or a character of importance. When they have a lot of passion and view for the future.
This makes me sad because now I'm thinking about Robin.
Yeah, and so they have all this potential. And a lot of the times that they kill off a character is so then the main characters, once they're they lose this person, they end up taking on that role and finishing out their dream. And so I could see a major battle happening and saying Dustin die, and then Mike and Will, or Will's we can't let him die in vain.
For nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
Because
kind of
I know
situation.
exactly what you're talking about. It's the joke that when you're watching an anime or movie and it's a character, because if the writing's not super good, it can come on too heavy. It's like, man, I'm so excited about my future. I'm gonna do so many things. I'm gonna be so successful and have a family and kids and grandkids, and you're just like, oh, they're done for.
No.
They're
Their dreams
goner.
are about to be crushed or they're gonna die.
They're gonna be in a box 6 feet under pretty soon.
Yep.
Dreaming of nothing but dirt.
I heard a new expression today.
What?
Pushing up daisies.
Yeah,
I had never heard of that.
I've heard it. It's like for dead.
Yeah, because
I
it's
think.
like you're pushing them up because you're
Push 'em
underground and they're growing. Anyways, I thought that was interesting.
Do you know what I saw? It was a tweet from. This is getting off topic, but that just reminded me. It's like a tweet from a Scottish person, someone saying my nan looks better than you, and she's in a wooden onesie.
That's
a
awesome.
coffin.
That's
She's
so sad, but
dead.
that's so funny at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I was just looking to see.
No, that's
which
okay.
Ones we haven't.
Do we have
talked about.
anything left on our sheet?
We have a couple, but some of them are more minor.
Mhm.
Do you want me to like list them off, or
Might as well. We still have 11 minutes.
we
still
can
have
kind of
11
list them
minutes.
off, and then we'll pick which ones we want to talk about. So another one we have is Mike in the Upside Down.
I do want to talk about that
Yeah.
one, but read the other ones first.
Vecna dying might equal the Demogorgons or the Upside Down creatures being good? Question mark.
Yes.
That's one we can talk about.
I actually want to talk about all of these so far. They're so
Yes.
interesting.
Steve, Nancy, and Jonathan love triangle again? Question mark.
I hope they
Nancy
don't
and
do
Jonathan
that.
breaking up.
Oh.
Because why else bring up Steve and Nancy back in season 4 if
Yep.
there isn't going to be cause for that?
Okay.
And then Vecna isn't season 5's main villain.
Which we talked about that one. Okay.
We did talk about that one.
So I want to start with Mike in the Upside Down because they made a really good point that at one point or another, everyone has been in the Upside Down except for I think it was Lucas, Mike, and Max. Max has technically kind of been there.
I was about to say Destin, but no, he was in
No,
season 4.
Dustin was there because he was in the fight with Eddie.
With Eddie.
Fly high, soldier.
Rest in
Fly high,
power.
king.
Totally.
Rest in power. Keep nerding it up in heaven,
Oh,
king.
yeah.
But because Mike hasn't been there, so it would be very interesting to sort of see these characters that haven't been in the Upside Down for one reason or another. I think that could be really interesting.
Yeah, it would also be interesting too because in season 4 we saw especially Mike and Elle specifically have a bit of a falling out.
Yes.
Until he returns, and I don't think that Will and Mike will ever have something.
No.
But I think it would be interesting to see Will in the Upside Down because of Vecna, and then Mike kind of have a bit of a moment
Like a
where
moment
he
of
needs-
reconciliation or communication.
Yeah, and need to go in after him and
Yeah.
then kind of talk to Elle. And I would like to see Mike and Elle split, but that's just me. I don't know if it's
yeah.
gonna happen. But I think it would be interesting to see Mike go after Will.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be a
Because
valid thing to happen.
That would be valid thing to that because it could be a moment of him realizing, like, as much as he cares about Elle, this is still his best friend who he's kind of pushed to the side and he's done him wrong. It could be, like we said, in the one moment where Nancy chooses like a friend, Robin, over Jonathan or Steve, because that's what she didn't do in the first season, and that's how Barb died because she chose Steve over her bestie.
Exactly.
I think that would be fascinating.
would be
And then
interesting.
what was the second one? Because I really wanted to talk about the second
Vecna
one.
dying would equal Upside Down being good.
Yes. So the idea that the Upside Down isn't inherently antagonistic or sort of vicious, but that Vecna has been manipulating for his own means, and because he's in a position of power in the Upside Down, maybe it's reflecting his personality, which I think there might be some credence to. Because remember when we first see Henry getting thrown into the Upside Down?
It's like a barren land.
It's just it's like a rocky wasteland, and you get the sense that after his time being there, he's sort of shaped it to be a model of Hawkins.
Yeah, because he was so angry and had so much vengeance towards that town and the life he had there for not ever accepting him, not wanting him. But I was like, first of all, okay, you were killing animals. You killed your family.
so
you were crazy.
Getting mad at people for not understanding you because maybe you're gay or you're divergent, that's reasonable.
That's different.
You're getting upset because people don't like you because you're like becoming a serial killer in real time.
No one's gonna like you, babe. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Respectfully, if I knew someone and they started doing that, I would start slowly walking away, and I would try to change my name and move to another state.
Yeah, probably.
That's probably what I would do.
Probably.
Respectfully, maybe another country actually.
Maybe another
I would want to
Just-
be as far
just,
away as possible.
Just go the whole 9 yards. Fake your death.
So I think
Fake your death.
Yeah, exactly.
At that point.
At that point, I
At
would.
that point.
And I think he has all that hatred, and he's definitely probably has some depression or something, and just
There's something going on
anger
in his
issues.
head. I don't think therapy could fix him.
Yeah, and I think he took that, and I think the Upside Down, he controlled it, or the Upside Down just kind of matched it, or it was a bit of both. And I just think now it's not good. So I think if Vecna hypothetically did die, it would be interesting to see everything kind of fall back to the way it was. And to see that they're maybe not like nice or best friends with
But
the
maybe they're
Upside
like
Down, but they're
neutral
not-
at most.
yeah.
Maybe they're like minding their own business and being like, oh, there's another dimension over there.
Okay, cool. Like, cool.
Whatever. I'm having fun running around on rocks here,
Exactly.
like that.
Exactly. So I think that could be a cool theory to happen.
Yeah.
And I liked that one a lot.
Yeah. I do like that. I also like that. Because no, Dart died. I was about to feel like maybe Dart could come back and he actually could be buddies with Dustin, but then I remembered season 2 and I was like, never mind. Never mind.
So sad.
So
sad.
what else do we have? What else do we have?
We had the love triangle.
The love triangle. I think if we're sticking with the theme of things sort of going full circle and we're coming back to where we were in season 1, I think it would make sense. It obviously seemed like that's what they're setting it up for in season 4. Doesn't mean I have to like it, though. Doesn't mean I have to like it. I detest love triangles with all my heart, with all my soul.
I used to be a love triangle girly, and now I would much rather just have straightforward either one bromance in the series or like a couple characters having their own things, or nothing.
It's
Mm-mm.
I've been so tired of it for so long because I was a huge reader as a child. I still am,
Yeah.
although I don't have as much
It's
time
so
for it.
common.
Basically, every young adult book or every book marketed towards young adults that I read is like love triangle, and it's not even a love triangle. It's a love arrow. If it's a triangle, someone's got to be gay. Okay,
Yeah,
someone's
It's
got to
not
be
going
gay for
every
love
way.
triangle.
It's usually two guys liking the one girl.
Yeah. And it just gets me so bad because so much of it's like, oh, miscommunication. It's like the two guys, they're like the same, except it's like one has brown hair and is nice, and one has black hair and is dark and edgy and mysterious.
He makes me feel things.
He's mysterious and he makes me feel things. He's mysterious and he's not like other boys.
You don't understand. I know I need to go with his brother, but I just love him so much.
I'm engaged to his brother, but I'm in love with him. That's basically every young adult novel I've ever read. I'm so tired of it.
It's so bad.
I can't keep
just,
talking about this, or I'm gonna actually start getting upset
I do not want
and
them-
ranting.
I don't want the love triangle, and I do not want Steve and Nancy. I do not want
No.
that. And if they do that, then they ruin the entire season.
And
Respectfully,
I don't want Jonathan and Nancy either. The way it looks like they're breaking things off anyway because their lives are going in separate directions.
I think they were good while they were,
Yeah.
but I don't think they would be good to keep going because even when they were seniors in high school and they were still living in town,
Yeah.
or I
They
guess
had-
not seniors,
they
but
had
it was summer
conflict.
jobs. They had conflict.
There was
and
tension.
they could never see eye to eye because
No.
they are from very different walks of life.
They have
and
different goals.
Some people can make that happen. Some people
Yeah.
can make that work. But I think that I don't think they were.
I
I don't think they would work.
This is a case in which I don't see Nancy ending up with anyone. I see Nancy, maybe she will eventually in the future, but I see her sort of being like, going separate ways and pursuing her career. Which, by the way, the fact that they're trying to get in the same college, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Never do that. If anyone is listening that is in high school, do not make your college decision based on who you are dating at the time.
There's something
There's
else to
no
be said.
good way.
You can
it'll
go to
go.
college and you can meet someone. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you should not, if you are in a current relationship in like
Mhm.
senior year of high school and you're
Mhm.
looking for a college, do not go to the same college or do not stay in a
Nope.
town if you don't want to stay in a town
Nope.
for someone or move to where they're
Yep.
moving because odds are, not trying to be Debbie Downer, it's not going to last.
Probably won't.
And
Statistically,
it won't.
how many people do you know that were dating someone in high school that aren't anymore? Because I know for me, it's probably a solid 100%.
Valid.
100%. For better or for worse. In a
Mine
lot of cases,
currently
for better.
is one. And
What?
the only reason I think they are still together, not to be Debbie Downer again, is because the one of them is still in high school. And they haven't moved on fully to then.
They haven't
and
gotten to
then-
that stage of life.
Yeah, no. And then she ended up moving back home.
Oh, is this the
to go
person
to
you're
school.
talking about
Yeah.
that was a lot older than them?
Yes.
Which is not great.
Yeah. We don't have to
Not
get into
great.
that. But
we
it's
don't
a
need
whole
that's another episode. We don't need to get into that.
thing. No hate to them.
Yeah.
I hope they're happy.
You know, if it's working for them, it's working for them.
Yeah.
You know?
But I just do not
No.
put your
I
life
think
choices
unless
to
you're
who
in like
dating
a
at the time.
serious, dedicated, multiple year long relationship,
Unless you're like already engaged.
unless you're
or
like engaged
something.
and you've been together for like 7 years, don't make major life decisions based off of another person.
No, Jose.
Don't, yeah.
No.
Don't
Whoa,
shut up.
I love words.
No Jose.
No way, Jose. That's
No
what I was
way,
trying to say.
Jose. You were almost there.
I
You're
was
just
almost
missing one word. You're fine. But yeah, I think. Is there anything else we wanted to talk about? I think we've touched on everything. I think
Touched on everything.
I do see them sort of trying to do the love triangle again, but I think the difference this time is that Nancy's gonna be like, there's probably gonna be like some big scene where it's like, you have to choose one of us, Nancy. It's either me or Jonathan. And Nancy's like,
neither.
I don't choose either of you. Both of you, I value you as friends, but
Yeah.
I don't want to date either of you actually. And they're
Yeah.
like, and then she's like, I'm gonna be a journalist.
I'm gonna
I'm
go
a
off my
career
own.
girl,
The last thing I did want to
working
bring up
9 to 5.
is I think we skipped over at one point. I think
Oh.
on accident. Was Callie coming
Yes,
back? I
Callie.
think Callie might come back.
I think Callie has to come back because I just feel like we talk about they're very good at picking up loose ends. Callie is a loose end.
She is.
Callie is loose end. Hasn't been touched on since season 2. I know a lot of people didn't like
Yeah.
season 2. But I think if this is truly the accumulation of things, they're going to... First of all, Elle's going to need all the help that she can get.
Yeah. And all
So,
the other
Callie.
kids are dead. So
And all the other kids are
So.
canonically deceased.
I would like to see what their abilities were too.
There's
Because-
a comic series that actually touches on that.
You mentioned okay. I have. To
It
do that.
explores other... So there's one kid that had, like, who's a twin. Her sister didn't have powers, but she did, but they were inseparable. One of them, I think, had fire powers.
Interesting.
And there was someone that had like sort of illusion powers, sort of like Callie. I don't actually no, she didn't have illusion powers. She was just so deeply traumatized. She was living in fantasy.
Oh, interesting.
There was someone who had visions of the future, who had premonitions. There was this one guy who was like he basically had super high charisma. His ability was he could kind of convince people to do things. Like he'd be like, "Hey, can you let me in that room that way?" And they were like, "No." And he's like, "Oh, I'd really like you to let me in that room, please." And they'd be like,
Okay.
"Okay." Basically, kind of like,
Manipulation.
do you know? I was gonna say, have you seen the Umbrella Academy?
Yes.
Kind of like Allison.
Yeah.
Kind of like I heard a rumor that you let me into this room.
Mhm.
You know, kind of like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think all right. So, is there anything else you'd like to say? Because if not,
Nope,
I think
that's
that
it.
wraps it up.
That is it.
All right. This has been the sort of I was about to say conspiracy theories, not conspiracy theories episode. This has been our theories episode for season 5 of Stranger Things. I'm Shelby.
And I'm Lee.
Stay weird. Bye.